The debate of whether student athletes should be paid or is what they receive enough has gone on for years. Here's a further look into that debate.
Well, you get the scholarship. Okay, so does the lady that plays the clarinet. How many extra clarinets you selling? Because they're selling Deshaun Watson jersey in the bookstore. Can I go buy a clarinet in the bookstore?
The receiver open, right out of the gate, NWO, a TD, DK Metcalf.
Murray escapes, lofts it downfield for Morris, who's got it for a touchdown.
The tournament's two leading scorers, and Robinson home.
That's unbelievable.
He broke his shoe with his own foot, but as you say, the injury.
A scholarship never really adds up to that much in the first place. And secondly, the scholarships don't account for all the hours that he has to spend working in the gym, then coming right back to complete his classes, do his tests, then go right back again to long games, then travel on the road. That scholarship doesn't add up to $265,000. I don't believe that. So no.
If my players were given scholarships, we would say for college athletes, a scholarship is kind of a chance to get compensated for the time you spend. So Division I schools, the schools you see, in the news every day, they give 13 full scholarships. Division II, they give 10 in men's basketball. And, so at the Division III level, there are 400 schools or so, and none of them give athletic-related scholarships. They can give academic scholarships. We may have students, especially at the private schools, that may be compensated, because of their academic credentials, but supposedly not for their athletic abilities.
You say that a basketball player is worth $265,000 per semester or season or whatever. You got to pay them based on what they're worth, just like any other thing. So it's like if there's players like Zion Williamson at Duke, I know for a fact he's bringing in a lot of money for that university. Somebody like that should be getting paid. If you're bringing in a lot of money, a lot of capital for them, a lot of revenue, you should be seeing a piece of that. It's never fair to profit off somebody else's work.
There's such a discrepancy between the revenue-producing sports like basketball and football that you mentioned and other sports, and until there's a system that can make it equitable and fair for everybody, I find it difficult to say that they should be paid at this time.
Well, this is a debate that's been ongoing for a while. I think the major problem is that not all the schools, make a profit. There are, say, the top 50, and I don't know the exact number of schools that, turn a profit. And then you also have to think about the other sports that they are funding that don't turn a profit. So I think the debate is, how do you compensate the athletes that are playing for the schools that are not profitable? And then also, how do you balance it with gender equity with the women's teams who are not, maybe at certain schools not making as much?
I think the scholarships are a good start. Where they can progress from there is, I think, a question that a lot brighter minds than mine are trying to tackle at this point in time.
Well, the top leagues, in college basketball, it's the ACC, with teams like Duke, North Carolina, obviously the Big Ten, Michigan State. They're very competitive, and for the most part, those teams are making a profit. But the entire body of schools, you're looking at like 346 Division I schools. It takes them all to make the pool and generate the level of interest in the national tournament. So at the end of the year, you have your national tournament based upon like every school having an opportunity to win it.
I mean, if they're getting paid, they shouldn't get scholarships, but if they're not getting paid, then scholarships do play a big role. Some pros to that could be they could support their families and they could stay longer in the program. Cons to that could be they could leave after they do get paid, or different compensations between different players.
They're amateur because the athletes don't get paid. And that's how you secure your amateur status, by not taking money to compete. Do they make money? Yes, they do. The schools make a lot of money. And I guess, but the athletes themselves are still amateurs. So to compensate some athletes and not compensate the other ones, I think would be a very difficult thing to do. So to answer your question, no, I'm not for paying athletes, but I am for them receiving some sort of support in the way of their careers, the way of going on to graduate school, or even for the athletes that don't finish to be compensated to get those courses paid for. But I think there should be some way to help them financially outside of like a stipend or like a salary.
This is just a fraction of the debate going on, not just at SUNY Westbury, but across the country, and will likely continue for years to come.